Have you ever looked up at the sheer immensity of space on a clear night and felt that pull, that question of, well, how did it all start? Well, that's exactly what we're digging into in this deep dive.
Yeah, today we're focusing right in on Genesis chapter 1. It's such a foundational story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trying to answer that very question of origins for, well, billions of people.
Exactly. And we want to dive into this creation story, not really to debate theology, but more to get a handle on the core ideas, the concepts it lays out. Think of this as getting you really well informed on what this key narrative actually says. So, okay, let's jump right in, that very first line.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Mm.
That's incredibly direct, isn't it? Just boom, straight in.
Yeah.
No preamble, no story about where God came from.
Right. It just puts it out there. In the beginning, God. So the immediate feeling is that God is, well, he's already there. Before everything, before time, maybe.
That's the implication. He wasn't created. He was the beginning.
So what does that suggest, about the nature of God himself?
Well, it suggests something fundamentally outside our usual understanding of cause and effect, of beginnings. In the beginning, God,
Yeah.
it posits a being that isn't dependent on anything else for his existence. Eternal, maybe?
Yeah, pre-existent. Kind of mind-bending when you really think about it.
Definitely.
Okay, so we have this starting point, and then later it talks about things being formless, void, darkness. And then day one hits with let there be light. Quite the dramatic entrance for light.
It really is. And it highlights the power of, well, the spoken word in this narrative. God speaks and bang, reality changes.
There's no struggle described. He just says it and it happens.
Exactly. No effort, no process detailed, just command and instantaneous result. Light appears.
But it's not just physical light, is it? I mean, there's often a deeper layer suggested there.
Symbolically, yes. Light versus darkness. It's often interpreted as bringing order from chaos, clarity from the void. It's like the first step in structuring everything.
Okay, structure. That makes sense. Then day two, separating waters, creating the sky or the firmament. It seems like another organizing step.
Precisely. It continues that theme. Creation isn't random here. It's presented as very deliberate, step by step, orderly.
Like building something carefully.
Yeah, a cosmic construction project almost.
And day three follows that pattern land emerging, the waters gathering, and then plants, vegetation. So layers building on layers.
That's a great way to put it. You see this systematic building,
Yep.
Establishing the environment first, then adding to it. You need land before you can have land plants, right?
Logical. Okay. Then day four, sun, moon, stars, the lights in the sky. Why create them now after light itself on day one?
Well, one interpretation is that day one light was maybe more of a fundamental concept of light or energy, whereas day four is about the specific celestial bodies we see.
Ah,
And importantly, they're presented as created things, not gods like in some other ancient cultures, but as markers for seasons, days, years, part of the order.
got it. Functional tense the system. Then day five, the air and water get filled, birds and sea creatures. The population phase continues.
Filling the domains created earlier. The sky from day two, the waters gathered on day three. It's consistently logical in its own framework.
Which brings us to day six, land animals. And the big one, humanity. But the language shifts here, doesn't it? It's not just let there be anymore.
That's a really key moment. The text says, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. That plural, us, our, jumps out.
Yeah, what's the significance of that?
Well, theologians have discussed that for centuries.
Yeah.
Many see it as an early hint of the Trinity, the idea of Father, Son, Holy Spirit. One God, but internally complex, let's say.
Interesting. And then the in our image part, that feels huge. What does that really mean, being made in God's image?
It's profound. It's generally not taken to mean a physical likeness, but rather reflects something about our inner nature, our capacity to, reason, to choose, to love, relate, create.
Like reflecting divine attributes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It suggests an inherent dignity and value in every single person.
Yeah.
Like we all carry these.
Yeah.
You called them divine fingerprints earlier. I like that.
Divine fingerprints, yeah. It gives a sense of unique worth. Okay, and then there's the word dominion. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air. That word can sound a bit harsh.
It can in modern English, but the original Hebrew seems to carry more of a sense of responsible stewardship, like being appointed as caretakers.
So not domination, like exploitation.
Less exploitation, more like Entrusted governance. It implies a partnership almost,
Yep.
a responsibility to creation given by the Creator.
That's a very different framing. Stewardship, not just power.
Hmm.
Okay, so 6 days of intense creation. What about day 7?
God rests. But crucially, the text implies it's not because he's tired like we get tired.
Right.
It's about completion. The work is finished. It's good. And by resting, blessing, and making the seventh day holy, God establishes this rhythm.
A rhythm for, well, for everything.
Yeah, a pattern of work and rest, creation and appreciation. It's woven into the fabric of existence, according to this narrative.
That idea of a built-in rhythm is powerful. Okay, so stepping back and looking at Genesis 1 as a whole picture, what are the big themes, the main takeaways that jump out?
Well, definitely the orderliness. It moves from, formless and void to this incredibly structured cosmos. That's huge.
From chaos to order.
Precisely.
Mm.
And then there's the constant refrain, and God saw that it was good, over and over.
Yeah, that stands out.
It suggests an inherent goodness, a fundamental value in creation itself. Everything made has worth. That's a pretty optimistic starting point, isn't it?
It really is, especially considering, well, the state of things sometimes. And what about humanity's place in all this?
That's central too. Made in God's image, given this role of stewardship, it puts humanity in a unique position. Not just another creature, but one with a special connection and responsibility to the Creator and the creation.
So if you, listening, are asking those big questions, who am I? Why am I here? Is there any point to it all? Genesis 1 offers some pretty direct answers, doesn't it?
It does. It says you're here because you were intentionally created. You reflect something divine, and you have a purpose, a role to play. It grounds identity and purpose in that relationship with the Creator.
And maybe that sense of underlying order, that God bringing light from darkness, maybe that offers some comfort when life feels chaotic.
It certainly can be interpreted that way, as a foundational belief that even in chaos, there's a potential for order, for light, rooted in the very nature of the divine.
And is this creative power just done, locked in the past?
The narrative here focuses on the beginning, but the implication in the broader tradition is usually that God's creative and sustaining power is ongoing, not just a one-off event.
Okay, so bringing it all together then, this deep dive into Genesis 1, it shows us a beginning described as rooted in God's deliberate power, resulting in a creation that's fundamentally good.
Mm-hmm. And it brings us right back to where you started, looking up at the sky and wondering. Genesis 1 offers one very influential perspective on how it all began.
So here's maybe something for you to think about. If we really take on board this idea of creation being inherently good and our role being one of stewardship, how might that actually change how we live, how we interact with the world, with each other, even how we approach our own creative impulses?
That's a great question to mull over. And it sets us up nicely for our next deep dive, where we'll step further into the story, into the Garden of Eden.
Looking forward to exploring Eden with you next time.